Let's talk cold calling or prospecting for clients. There's lots of different ways you can prospect for clients, and it's been around for ages. My very first listing was actually a cold call. I picked up the phone and I called a for sale by owner that I saw their sign in the yard. I just reached out to them and asked if they needed help. I didn't have a script. I didn't know what I was doing. And my second listing was an expired. Also didn't have a script. I didn't have any software. I literally saw that it was expired in the MLS, and I went to Google, typed in the address, and tried to find their phone number. And I was actually able to find it. Now, it took me a long time, and there's a lot of technology out nowadays that makes this process way simpler. Things like Mojo, Vulcan 7, RedX will allow you to call people super fast and will provide you with everyone's phone numbers so you don't have to do the initial research. Cold calling for business has been around since phones existed. And for good reason. It works. Now, a lot of people don't like cold calling, and if that's the case, don't do it. In fact, you'd be surprised with how few agents are actually doing it. To put this in perspective, I work in a market with 50,000 agents, and when I cold call someone like a for sale by owner or an expired, I'm often the 20th person who's called. 20 out of 50,000. That is nothing. And 2/3 to 3/4 of those people are doing it as a test run, and they're not going to continue doing it. So my competition is really like 5 to 10 agents. I can literally count on my hand the number of agents that I know that are doing this on a regular basis, and that's who I'm competing against at listing presentations. When I go in and I don't get the listing, I can almost guess who got the listing, and I can check the MLS in a couple weeks and see that I was right, that it was one of those 5 other agents that's calling. So competition is super slim. For whatever reason, agents aren't doing this. It's also super cheap to use leverage to do it. A Mojo dialer or a RedX dialer is like $150 a month for a triple line dialer, and you can get everyone's phone number on the planet for a couple $100 extra. And you can take this one step further. Once you get a hang of these dialing programs, you can dump all sorts of lists in there. Not necessarily just cold lists. You can take your database of 300 or 400 past clients or leads that you got from who knows where, import them into the dialing system, and call people 3 to 4 times faster than you could manually. This is a perfect example of leverage to get your time back. The stats are astronomical. It's something like 93% of for sale by owners eventually list with a real estate agent. Now, you're probably not going to get a for sale by owner to list with you the day they go for sale by owner. But you can call, reach out, introduce yourself, offer some value, maybe provide them with some professional photographer phone numbers or all the documents they'll need for a contract, and then just follow up with them periodically, because usually around the 2-week to 1 month mark, they're down to list their home. Another cool strategy I've implemented lately, especially with for sale by owners, is the cash buyer program. Now at EXP, we have the express offers program, so we have multiple cash buyers in our pocket. And I'm sure your brokerage has something similar, or you can team up with a third-party cash buyer. So when this for sale by owner often asks, I don't want to talk to you unless you have a buyer. Great, I got buyers, I got cash buyers. I'd love to come by, take a look at the property so I can submit it to them and see what they're willing to offer you. That gets you in the door, so you can literally show them multiple cash offers on paper and compare it to the option of maybe listing on the market. You'd be surprised how many actually take the cash offer. Way more than I originally thought, especially when you compare them. You're like, hey, I'll list your home for $500, or I got a cash offer right now for $430. Oh, I'll take the cash. You'd be surprised how often that happens. Now with express offers, we get 3%, and then the buyer will often turn around and resell it, and we automatically become the listing agent, which is double cool. But if they don't take the cash offer, they're more likely to list with you because you at least got in the door and met with them. The stats on expireds is equally impressive. Half of expired sellers will list with a new agent within 1 week. 1 week. That is instant gratification. For sale by owners aren't instant gratification. Expireds are instant gratification. You can literally call an expired listing, talk to them, and have it listed on the market that same day. When it comes to expireds, the early bird gets the worm. A lot of expired listing callers I speak to are up early in the morning, calling before I thought it was appropriate to call. Like literally, they're calling like 8 o'clock in the morning. And And I'm like, I don't know, that sounds kind of early to call someone, but they're getting success out of it. And a lot of that has to do with the fact there are 20 people calling them on day one. And so if you're the first person to get them on the phone, they haven't already had all the tons of phone calls yet, they're not frustrated yet, you got a pretty good chance of scoring an appointment. There's a lot of other lists out there you can call, like pre-foreclosures, reach out to them. Maybe they want to sell before they lose their home and take advantage of the equity. Or you have probate leads. You can farm neighborhoods, get a list of everyone in the neighborhood and just call. And there's even some smart programs out there that claim to predict who's going to sell their home in the near future, and they'll sell you those lists. What's your favorite list to call? Do you like probate, expired, FSBO? What are you calling on today? Love to know in the comments down below.